The shadow world of Orban, Russian compromise, concession monopoly, and the road empire. Second episode. Hungary is a state in the heart of Europe that increasingly resembles an authoritarian construct with its hierarchy, clones of the Soviet past, and shadowy flows of funds. At its peak is Viktor Orban. In the first part, we already talked about the corrupt assets of Orban's family, but now it's time to look deeper into the essence of his power, the basis that allows him to maintain control over the country for decades, coming to power thanks to direct ties to the secret services since Soviet times, and maintaining power with the support of oligarchs from his entourage, who were allowed to redistribute the state budget. Until 2010, Viktor Orban held a tough anti-Russian position. However, suddenly his rhetoric changed dramatically. The reason is the compromising material that Russian intelligence, the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, and the Kremlin itself possess.
Our first meeting has happened 2009, when I was that time in opposition, and I visited him in St. Petersburg, and we had a meeting in a library to clarify all the sophisticated and sensible point of the relation between the two countries, because the history of Russia, Soviet Union, and Hungary is rather complicated. They several times attacked and occupied the country. 56 revolution crashed by them. We are very strong anti-communist political party, so it was not an easy job to find the proper basis how we will cooperate in the future.
These are not hypotheses, but facts that are confirmed by both Hungarian investigative journalists and former state officials. The key element of the compromising evidence is the fact that Orban himself was recruited while serving in the military in 1981 to 1982. He was recruited by the military counterintelligence of Communist Hungary, the 3rd/4th unit of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. In the documents of that time, he appeared under the agent pseudonym Győri Gábor. The person with this pseudonym was born on May 31, 1963 in the city of Székesfehérvár, exactly where Orban was. According to the data obtained, the military counterintelligence conducted the agent case until 1988. At the beginning of Viktor Orban's political activity in 1988 as the founder of the Fidesz party, materials confirming his cooperation with the Hungarian special services were destroyed, but copies were transferred to Moscow to the KGB of the USSR, namely to the RT Department, Intelligence from the Territory, as a promising agent for further work with him. Lios Shimichko, born 28 January 1960. Lios Shimichko is a former Hungarian business magnate, a former politician of Fidesz, and he was the head of Ep.2, Hungary's Internal Revenue Service between 1998 and 1999, during the first government of Viktor Orban. He was the 9th richest person in Hungary in 2016, dropped to 49th in 2020. He had extensive media interests, which included Magyar Nemzet, the #1 daily conservative newspaper, the radio station Lánchíd Radio, the weekly magazine Heti Válasz, and the television network Hír TV. An oligarch and former Grey Cardinal of Orban's government, who served with him in the army and lived with him in the same dormitory room, also claimed cooperation. According to him, Orban himself admitted that he had provided information to military counterintelligence, including about Shimichko himself. The compromising material also concerns the activities of the Prime Minister's father, Győri Orban. After the suppression of the 1956 revolution, he actively helped the Soviet special services identify activists of the anti-communist movement. Apparently, it was for such outstanding services to the country that Győri Orban's company received almost €1 million from the budget in 2021 as part of the project on Lake Balaton, after which it was quickly sold and liquidated.
Viktor Orban was an agent of the system. He didn't just pass through it, he worked for it. All data on his recruitment was kept in a separate personal file in the military counterintelligence of Communist Hungary, in connection with the political processes in Hungary which led in 1989 to the collapse of the Eastern Bloc and the formation of the Democratic Republic of Hungary. Materials on a promising agent politician were transferred to the KGB in advance. I personally saw documents with signatures, reports, and dates of meetings. Such connections do not disappear. They are the Kremlin's lever, which acts through blackmail and dependence. And it is this lever that ensures the current foreign policy course of Hungary. But even the financing of the Fidesz party in 1988 raises many doubts, since funds were probably also allocated to the KGB for a long-term project, which was already crowned with success in 1989.
I'm a friend of Putin, but I'm friend of the Hungarians first. Second, I'm friend of the peace. That's very important. I'm friend of the peace. The reason why I negotiate with Putin, because I'm looking for the shortest and quickest way how to stop this war and create a peace.
Compromise is only one pillar. The second is money. The Fidesz party, led by Viktor Orban since 1990, is currently officially financed from three sources: the state budget, membership fees, and donations. The real flow of funds goes through the companies of oligarchs close to Orban. Lios Shimichko, through his companies Kozgep and Mahir, has repeatedly won state tenders. Lőrinc Mészáros is a Hungarian oligarch, businessman, and former politician. He was born 24th of February 1966. Lőrinc is a Hungarian businessman and former politician who served as mayor of the Hungarian village Felcsút between 2011 and 2018. With an estimated wealth of 1.241 trillion forints, $3.2 billion, as of December 2024, he is the richest person in Hungary. Several media outlets refer to him as an oligarch. Lőrinc Mészáros, a childhood friend of Orban, has received hundreds of millions of euros in state contracts since 2010. Key figures in Orban's government, Antal Rogan and János Lázár, are responsible for the formation of corruption schemes for the distribution of state funds. The largest of these schemes is the concession management of highways. Since September 2022, 1,666 kilometers of roads have been transferred to MKIF Zert until 2035. In the first year, the consortium declared 22 billion forints of net profit. In 2023, MKIF received 148.2 billion forints from the budget, of which 20 billion went to dividends. MKIF consists of 6 companies: Primus, Secundus, Tertius, Quartus, Quintus, and Sextus, all created on the same day, July 11, 2022. Employees, from 1 to several, but profits reach hundreds of millions of euros. Let's take a closer look at the structure of MKIF and their profits for 2023. Primus, 127.5 million euros, Secundus, 90 million euros, Tertius, 80.4 million euros, Quartus, 49.2 million euros, Quintus, 34.9 million euros, Sextus, over 24.8 million euros, having only one employee. Total profit, over 150 billion forints. Addresses: Akron 2, Budors, and Alcatraz 53, Budapest. All companies are controlled by L. Mészáros and LC. In the second graph, we will see exactly how money flows from the state to the Fidesz party. The state transfers over 140 billion forints to MKIF annually. MKIF pays dividends to Mészáros and SIA companies. Part of the funds go to finance media controlled by oligarchs. Through indirect channels, these funds support Fidesz, from advertising to black money.
This is not a business. This is a centralized pumping out of budget funds. MKIF companies were created synchronously on July 11, 2022. All are registered at 2 addresses. In fact, they are paper structures without a real staff. For example, MKIF Sextus has 1 employee and declares profits of tens of millions of euros. In 2023, 97% of all their income is funds from the state budget, partly from EU funds. Of these, more than 20 billion forints went as dividends to people affiliated with Fidesz. Because of this, the anti-corruption organization Transparency International filed an official lawsuit against the European Commission for violating the principles of transparency, preventing competition, and abusing the concession model. This is not an exception. It is a systemic mechanism for Orban to maintain power.
Transparency International filed a formal complaint in 2024. The investigation is ongoing, but MKIF continues to operate without oversight. The concession model has become a private service system for the ruling party. Corruption in the public sector in Hungary has been increasing for more than a decade. As a result, for the second year in a row, Hungary has the lowest score among European Union member states on the Corruption Perceptions Index. In early February 2025, Hungary was officially denied European Union funding worth about €1 billion, which was frozen due to corruption charges. Hungary today is not just a country with corrupt practices. It is a state in which compromising material, connections with foreign intelligence services, and state financing of private interests of a narrow circle of individuals have become the basis for maintaining power. Viktor Orban, using his past, the influence of oligarchs and billions in the budget, has created a model that is positioned as an alleged democracy. But in reality, it is a carefully constructed, tightly controlled authoritarian pyramid. And while Hungarians are trying to survive in conditions of a protracted economic depression, Orban's family and his inner circle continue to steal and enrich themselves at the expense of the state budget. In this series, we have revealed previously unknown facts about the activities of Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban and his inner circle. We are already preparing new revelations to share with you in the next episode.